Tonight, we're learning more about why the owners of a popular barbecue chain up in northern Arizona have found themselves in federal custody. The husband and wife owners of Colt Grill are accused of hiring illegal migrant workers for profit.
12 News journalist Sean Rice is in studio tonight. And Sean, we're told that this was a 3-year investigation that's just now coming to a head.
Yeah, we saw the arrest of those owners yesterday. We didn't know much about the investigation. We know a lot more now. Homeland Security investigations say they've been looking into criminal activity inside the doors of 5 Colt Grill locations since 2022. The owners, Robert and Brenda Clouston, are accused of creating a scheme to employ migrant workers at their restaurants, pay them no overtime, and less than minimum wage. And a former federal prosecutor tells me he believes their attempts to conceal the financial crimes could have them in a lot more trouble.
When they dropped in yesterday at 11 o'clock, I have no doubt that Colt Enterprises were caught with their pants down, so to speak.
Former federal prosecutor Josh Colesrud knows what goes into prosecuting a case just like the one against the owners of Colt Grill. Tuesday morning, federal agents swarmed their 5 locations, 4 here in Arizona and 1 in Foley, Alabama.
The owners of this business, according to the indictment, recruited aliens, that is, Mexican citizens, to come across the border for a financial purpose.
The 10-page indictment says the Cloustons intentionally sought to bypass a federal employment system called E-Verify. That's a system that business owners are required to use to check if prospective employees have eligibility to work legally. The alleged scheme went as far as the Cloustons creating a fake cleaning company called R&R AZ Cleaning LLC to pay some of their workers well below minimum wage, often in cash, potentially shielding the payments from the Colt Grill business. Prosecutors also allege Robert Clouston directed his recruiters to fire U.S. citizens and hire more undocumented workers, specifically Mexican nationals, who would work for a lesser wage.
The business won't have to pay the appropriate taxes on those wages. So they're saving money in 2 different fronts. One with payroll, and the second with taxes with the U.S. and state governments. So that there's a lot of financial incentives to try to cheat the government in this aspect.
In addition to the arrests of the owners and 2 employees accused of facilitating the hiring of these undocumented workers, Homeland Security investigations say they also detained 20 people working at the Colt Grill locations on immigration violations. Colesrud expects those workers could be used to testify against the owners if the Cloustons choose to take their case to trial.
I sincerely believe that they were very surprised, and they're in hot water right now.
And Sean joins us now. And Sean, there are a lot of moving parts to this, but the one that intrigues me is differentiating between human smuggling and hiring and employing people who are here illegally.
Yeah.
In this case, it's both, right?
It is both, and it's a much different burden for the prosecution to reach a trial in terms of convicting them on both. But the key here is, and I mentioned it in the story, there's 2 employees that they hired specifically to facilitate the human smuggling. Those were people who are also in the country illegally that potentially had those connections across our southern border to bring people across at the request of the owners. That would be the human smuggling aspect of this. Very similar, but one comes with a lot more prison time, and the human smuggling certainly does.
Okay,
Right.
so they were arrested yesterday. So what's next for the owners of the Colt Grill?
Yeah, so they appeared this morning in federal court in Flagstaff. That was the closest federal court to them. They were advised of their charges in the indictment and the charges and the counts they face. It was a very quick hearing. What comes next is a detention hearing in front of that same federal judge coming up on Monday. Until then, they will spend the weekend in federal custody under the custody of the U.S. Marshals. That judge will decide if they can be released pending trial at that point.
And real quickly, because again, a lot of moving parts,
Yep.
the money laundering aspect of this. I mean, the list it's a laundry list, but how did they work the money laundering?
Yeah, what's interesting is they are actually not charged with money laundering. Now, it's talked about that cleaning business where they may have fed some of that money through. And what Josh Colesrud, that attorney I spoke with, former federal prosecutor, he suspects that there may be a superseding indictment as this investigation continues that could include some money laundering counts as they look further into that second business.
Wow. All right, so this is far from over.
For sure, yes.
All right, Sean, thanks.